I have dinner on the
My husband,
It'll come with time. How long have you been in tech?
Since '85.
Okay.
And I was very, very active in trying to save tax and waterworks starting in the early 90s. I know him from there. And I knew Steve Boswell was here in that era.
Yeah.
And, oh, wait, just a minute.
Yeah, what you gotta do.
my dad passed away.
I don't really know. The one I have is not a public one.
There's this Oradell guest fence.
I don't know what it is. And I guess there's no sign, I guess, right? It is.
Next to swimming pool, next to it with a hot dog. Yeah, it's the football field. And the swimming pool next to it is where those other buildings are. The robot plane. You should have started with closed sessions. Little guys running around. 10 minutes to an hour. This is was running with
How's it going?
Oh, that's right, that's right.
That's okay. It's very overwhelming. I'm gonna put together like a little binder that would be
Hey, Ted, can you grab me another word?
Yeah,
Is that what you...
okay.
Thank you.
You good?
I'm good, thank you.
Do you want to watch?
I will in a second. I have to go get this in there. I have to test it to make sure it's good.
Laura, is there a hard copy of the agenda?
Hi, Roger.
Can I? Okay, thanks.
He's got one.
Did you?
I got.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here.
Welcome. Good.
But you know, Carol just interviewed a couple of planners, and Emerson came up.
I've been so great.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into it. Like, yeah, I don't think you have to.
The monument got rave reviews on Saturday.
Awesome.
Yeah, really. Everybody's very happy.
Good to hear.
18 years of Oradell stuff.
Nice. Flowering, really beautiful.
Everybody, so I could quickly know because I sort of know names. That would be, you could send it by email or
Codes, it's locked out.
It locks out? I've never even known it does that.
Thank you. Just want to douse the fire.
Oh, Jim.
Robotics team, is that all right.
Well, you can ask.
Are we on the air? Thank you very much. Okay, this meeting was already called to order in closed session. Notice of this meeting was published in the official newspapers and prominently posted in Borough Hall and filed with the municipal clerk in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Harrer, would you lead us?
I
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Laura, can we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Mayor Koch,
Here.
Mr. Carnival,
Here?
Mr. Staff,
Here.
Mr. Tashian,
Here.
Mr. Kern,
Here.
Mr. Gullo.
Here.
I know we have a presentation of certificates, but I think I'm going to switch this around a little so Ms. Harrer can join us on the dais. We're going to skip over the swearing in first of Margaret Harrer for the unexpired council term ending 12/31/2024. Laura, if you'd help me facilitate that. Sure. Absolutely. We get situated however you would.
You can stand up.
Picture.
Oh,
Yeah, you're good.
Don't worry
Seriously.
about the TV so much. May. Let's do the oath
This
first.
is the mayor. This is my husband, Rick Henley.
Hi, Rick, how are you?
And
Very nice to meet
all
you.
my family. This is Finn and Grace
Wonderful.
and Kalina,
How are you?
Joanne, and my brother John.
How are you?
Pleasure.
Nice to meet you.
And this is a 100-year-old family Bible.
Wonderful. You have certainly come prepared. Why don't we turn a little this way, because I know OPTV wants to get you. We want you to watch us on YouTube well later.
Okay.
Okay. Whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, if you'll raise your right hand.
Oh,
I, Margaret L. Harrer,
I, Margaret L. Harrer,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of New Jersey,
and the state of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully
impartially,
and impartially
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of the office of
all the duties of the office of
council member of the Borough of Oradell
council member of the Borough of Oradell
for the unexpired term ending December 31st, 2024.
for the unexpired term ending December 31st, 2024,
According to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, baby.
Sign. Sign.
Oh, I have to sign it. Thank you.
I was asking
Thank you.
I thought somebody was taking Yeah, I took it.
Okay, perfect.
I have to turn this on somehow.
The mic is always on. This light's broken.
This light's broken.
Next item on the agenda, while Ms. Harrer gets settled, is we have a number of certificates for the Riverdale High School Hypnotic Robotics Team. Wow. Hypnotic, okay. I think the best thing to do is I'm going to go down to the podium. I'm going to ask Council President Carnival to join me. Who is, I guess, in charge from the robotics team that may be here? Would you do us the benefit of perhaps a little background on the team?
Sure. Riverdale's has had a robotics club since 2010. This year we won the state championships, which earned us a position to the World Championships in Houston. The competition it's not like BattleBots like many people are familiar with. You build more of a skill-based robot that has to perform various tasks in a tournament format. And our guys, through and girls, thank you, through incremental changes throughout the season, came up with an excellent design. I'm very proud of them. And they made it all the way to the quarterfinal round in the World Tournament. And it really is a world tournament. There was 25 countries there speaking like 18 different languages, and there was 45 states represented. So it was really an impressive event, and they were very proud. We're proud of them for making it there.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the background, and I want to congratulate the young men and women on the team for their accomplishment. Unfortunately, I'm not going to give you my age, but they didn't have robotics when I went to Riverdale. So this is certainly quite an astonishing thing. So I would like to... I guess Steve and I will come down. I'll call the students out by name, and you can come up, get your certificate, and we can pose for a picture in front of the dais. Why don't you call the names out? I'll give them their certificate as they come out.
I don't want to mispronounce anybody's name. Do you? Yeah, okay. I'm just forewarning you. I'm going to do the best I can. Okay. But congratulations. This is a wonderful honor. So we'll start with Madeline Campestri. She's not here. Okay. That happens too when we do these, so it's okay. Parker M. Cermak Huizen. Did I get that right? Seyon Kim. Subham Kumar. Ted Erdos. Oh, great job. You also played taps at our Memorial Day ceremony. You did a great job. Camila J. Arana Meglor. Shushil Shubil, come on up here. Congratulations. Zachary Nabon. David Suen. Jeremy Salto. William Val Carcel. Brandon Yee. And Rachel Szymanski.
Hold up your certificates so they're taking photographs, they can see them. Thank you.
might want to give him 2 rows.
Also a director.
Yeah, that's good, Simon. Good, good.
Get the,
Everybody go behind so we can all get
Jim, grab the teacher also, the advisor.
Not a panoramic picture. Yeah. There we go. Nice.
You get the teacher in there?
Wait, did we not,
Jim, want to get a picture? I don't have any more up there.
okay. Huh?
We get this and then our mentor.
Oh, okay.
Nothing more than the mayor runs the photo, so we'll just...
Yeah, I was just saying, can we get the mayor and council president? If you want on each end. Perfect. There we go.
All right, 1, 2. Okay.
Oh, yes, John. You're welcome. Thank you.
They're welcome to stay.
I mean,
That young man had a big
thanks again.
Okay.
No.
Next item on the agenda is train station update under discussion items. Council President?
Yes, so we have a historical committee meeting coming up, and I will be asked what's the latest in terms of the moving this project forward. So I don't know whether it's better.
Yeah, I have a draft contract that I need to give a little more work on it for the architect. When's the next meeting, Councilman Carnevale? The committee meeting, that is?
The committee
next-
meeting, I think, is June 3rd?
Yeah, we
Okay.
changed it because of the holidays.
Right. I think it's June 3rd.
Okay. But I will get a draft here before.
Actually, you know what? I have it down here. Yes, it is June 3rd.
Okay.
So if we just have an update
Yep.
that we can share with them.
Will do.
So is the only thing left to tackle before the architect can start resolving the contract between the borough and the firm?
That's it, yeah.
Okay.
And there's no issue, it's just
No, I understand. But once that's
AIA
completed,
documents this thing.
once that's completed, they can begin their tasks, right?
Right.
We can have them a notice to proceed, and they can start accordingly. Can we do a notice to proceed in advance of the contract, or?
You can, but I think the architect's going to want the signed contract.
Fair enough.
And we're not at risk in terms of that money to do the architect, the grant that we received? Wasn't there a grant received to have the architect do the work, the plan?
Not specific, but it's going to pay for it.
Right, but there's no expiration on that
Well, there's
grant?
expiration on everything, but we don't have the same issue with this grant, I believe, that we've had with our others.
Okay.
We're going to, so can we, Bill, is it safe to say we can get this moved by the next meeting?
Yes.
The contract?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Any old business before the council?
Mr. Mayor, I'm not sure if this is old business or not, but I've had a number of requests online to explain how I got here. And I wondered if you could take a second and just tell the public the process of how I came to
Sure.
take this position.
I'm going to ask the clerk to do that.
Oh, sure. So under, I don't know, believe it or not, the statute offhand, but under municipal vacancy law, it outlines the whole process when a vacancy is created for a number of reasons in municipality. In this instance, we had a sitting councilperson issue a letter of resignation, which then thus creates the vacancy. Vacancy falls under two ways. It's a term limit. If there's usually a deadline which has passed, which was, I believe, sometime last September. If there's a certain amount of period left on the term, it triggers one type of process. If there's too much time, usually it's around before that September date, then the vacancy's filled, but then that individual has to rerun for the seat to finish out the term. So in this case, that deadline had passed. So in this case, the political party in which the individual was part of has a certain time frame. I believe it's 15 days from the date of the vacancy to submit 3 names to the governing body. The governing body obtained background and scheduled interviews with candidates that responded off the list. So 2 of the candidates came in and met with the mayor and council and, went through that process. The mayor and council has 15 days from the receipt of the names to appoint to that position. And that was done last week. After that resolution was done last Wednesday, we scheduled the swearing in for this evening. If that marker had not been hit, then there's another part to the process, which didn't have to occur because
Thank you. I do know the process.
The abridged version
Right.
of municipal vacancy law.
I just wanted the public to know.
Yeah, no, it's a
because
good
I'm getting
question.
questions. So
Yeah.
thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
And it doesn't happen often. So,
Yeah.
So yeah. that's-
Right, and the resignation was the seat of Councilwoman Schoenberg.
Correct.
Who has moved on to time commitments did not allow her to continue in her term. And the council went through that process and arrived at Ms. Harrer as the candidate that the council selected based upon interviews and background material, as you stated. I think this would be a great time to give you a minute if there's anything that you'd like to say or to address the council.
I'm very honored is mostly what I want to say. Thank you. I'm excited to work with Oradell. I've been living here for quite a long time. I've been active in a lot of, my husband's nodding, seriously. I've been active in a lot of different venues in Oradell, everything from the planning board to working on the historic Hackensack Waterworks to preserve that site, to Girl Scouts, to working in the arts. I'm happy to see the Bergen County Players people here. So I'm just thrilled to be given the opportunity to serve the community in this way. And thank you, gentlemen, for voting me in.
Thank you, Maggie. We're happy to have you.
Mayor, I got a quick question, though. I just realized this now. Her position on the historical committee, do we keep her on because she's, council person now, or do we make her liaison? What would be, the best pathway for that?
If I may, I'd like Stephen to stay the liaison because he's been wonderful. But I guess I had the same question. May I still stay on the committee?
I don't think there's anything that would prohibit it. It would be atypical.
Yeah, as long as there's not 3
Yeah.
elected officials, so you don't have a quorum.
Okay,
I think it makes sense for you to stay on the committee, too.
great. Thank you.
And Steve just is the official reporting.
Right. And there is a resolution under consent agenda appointing Ms. Harrer to the committees that were vacated by Mrs. Schoenberg. Okay. Anything under new business?
I also, Mr. Mayor, have some new business. It's kind of new business. It's actually for Roger. I noticed in the Bergen Record on Friday, May 24th, that a number of schools, beginning with Ramapo College, they received $650,000 grant as one of 4 climate change learning collaborative centers. And I noticed that in Bergen County, Leonia Pascack Valley Regional High School District received $31,609, and Ridgewood Village received $31,875. So I guess my question was, and maybe this is for Roger to pursue with the educational people at Riverdale High School, whether we applied and are we eligible for that? Because apparently Ramapo is able to distribute grants. I just think it's something that we have a very active environmental group, and the kids in town are very active about that. So I can give you this, Roger, later if you'd like.
I actually read the article.
Oh, okay. You're ahead of me then. But I just thought it was something exciting that we could maybe provide for our kids if we're still somehow eligible for that.
So we have a grants consultant that we have on retainer that will either look into grants we recommend they pursue or bring to us grant opportunities we may not normally be aware of. So, Mr. Hines, if you would have that discussion with our grant consultant, and if you have any questions, follow up with Ms. Harrer. Thank you. Any other new business? If not, I will entertain a motion to open to public comment for non-agenda items only.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Mic is now open to the public.
Good evening, Paul Atsunis.
I think, Paul?
I have to ask about the closed session. Would you be telling us now, or you want to tell us later about what going on the topics of the closed session tonight?
It was interviewing planners.
Okay, that's it? Okay. All right, Memorial Day. Memorial presentations were done respectfully well. I gave thought to my father's service in World War II, that he spent his last days at the Veterans Home in Paramus. It got me through thinking that we could have a Veterans Home here in Oradell, and why could we not have the federal and government, together with the Veterans Association, take control and purchase the Blauvelt Mansion for this purpose, and save the building itself. An architect with a keen eye could preserve the internal architectural features as well, and could have 25 to 30 veterans there, which would also help with our affordable housing requirements. And this is just a thought from me, and I thought I'd just pass it on because I've never heard anything like that proposed before. Another topic, preventive maintenance for borough properties and buildings. Who is responsible for the building inspections and follow through at more frequent, timely inspections in an effort to save time and funds to prevent deteriorations of the properties? Perhaps the grant of $500,000 could be put to use this way, that we have a grant. And another topic, I have not seen any styrofoam collection at our DPW recycling. I believe that we have a contract with Ridgewood. What's the delay? If you could answer me later when you speak, whoever's involved. I believe that I read somewhere in the internet that Oradell was issued $20,000 grant for the purchase of trees. And the 3 trees at the entrance of the parking lot at Deepak and Hagler Playground should be replaced. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
My name is Pat Garibaldi. Steve Depkin's office directed me to come here. I have a water issue. I live at 903 Lotus Avenue. I'm not sure if this is the correct venue, so if it isn't, please tell me. But this is where I was directed to come. The house next to mine at 895 Lotus, their sump pumps are draining into a bed which is next to their driveway. And due to the grade of the driveway, the water is flowing into the street and pooling in front of my driveway. So last winter, my driveway had a large swath of ice in front of it, which was very dangerous. And I have a picture if you need it or you need copies of. And this could result in a serious accident or possible liability for the town because it was like an ice skating rink. It was an absolutely enormous amount of ice. And my thought was, since we're going to be doing the streets over, do the PSENG project, possibly I don't know if this is the correct term, a B-catch basin could be installed to collect the water that's now pooling in front of my house. That's all I have.
If you have any documents you want to leave that you can...
I have this. I actually had emailed Steve 3 photos of the ice, but I can leave a...
If you can...
Who would I leave that with?
Get her contact information, you can follow up. Our borough administrator can help with Steve and/or our engineer.
Laura is the town clerk.
It's very significant.
Thank you.
Or edit.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pat.
Hi, Linda Bessink, OPTV. First of all, I want to congratulate Councilwoman Harrer. I have to say, after all, I always thought you'd be great on council, and all the years I've written you in on every election, I guess it's coalesced somehow. As most of you know, OPTV belongs to a statewide group called the Jersey Access Group, and every year at our annual conference, I say our because I'm on the board, they give out what we call a JAG Awards, and this year OPTV won for Best Video Community Event Single Camera. And you might have seen this picture of this on the Oradell Residence page on Facebook, but this is the award. And I just wanted to share that with all of you because we are very proud of it.
David Banfield, Oradell Public Television. In addition to this award, we were fortunate to have our chair, Nick Bessink, receive the 2024 JAG Member Recognition Award, and I'll take a moment to read it. By the way, nice to see you there, Maggie. Maggie has been my neighbor since they moved to Oradell, actually. 2024 JAG Member Recognition Award presented to Nick Bessink. Nick has been a part of Oradell's community TV facility, OPTV, since its inception in 2006 and has been its chair since 2009. In addition to running OPTV and, along with staff and crew, making it the best it can be, Nick has assisted many other PEG facilities, that's public, educational, and government, our PEG stations. Assisted many other PEG facilities with their operations, getting their facility up and running and on the air. He's always ready to assist anyone, whether it be related to equipment, operations, or anything that is needed. His reputation in this regard is well known. OPTV has been a JAG member since 2008, and Nick values networking with other members and sharing information. So, a well-deserved award for a tremendous amount of work and effort on behalf of community government transparency and keeping things that are going on in the community at the forefront. So thank you, Nick.
Thank you both. Congratulations to Nick and all of our OPTV volunteers. Well done.
Sam Tripsis.
Yes, Sam.
I just want to point out that the OPTV award was for the murals that were painted on the garage in downtown. So that was just done last May. So thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
Just very briefly, my name is Christine Francois. I'm a resident of the town, and I am the new liaison from the Bergen County Players to the Oradell Council. So I will be contacting everybody just to let them have my email. My president, Allison Cohen, and our business manager, Nancy Feldman, are also here with me this evening. I look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Welcome. Any other member of the public wish to speak under non-consent items? If not, I'll look for a motion to close the non-consent public session and open the consent agenda items.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Anybody like to come up and talk about consent agenda items?
All that's in this. 24-153 resolution. The hourly wages from $16 and up. I think it goes up to 28 or 35. And it gave thought to me, and I thought about it. And when the seasonal people get paid, the minimum wage in New Jersey is $13.43. And for high school students, it's $12.86. And that we pay the library minimum wage of $15.13. It's just a suggestion, why not pay the library people $16 an hour and to the library employees, and they are underpaid, given that most of them are amount of respect. It'll give them amount of respect and give the library what it is needed to preserve the service and respect for their employees. I would like to see the library get everything that they can possibly get in order to do this.
Happy to answer that question. The library is a separate entity from us. They get their budget and they manage their money their own way. So pay and compensation for library employees is controlled by the library and the library board. We have nothing to do with that.
Well, we do have something to do with it because if they need extra funds in order to do this, because they're on a very tight budget and they have a lot of, they spoke about to you guys the last few meetings about this.
But we also are under an extremely tight budget, and we have to cut where we cut and everything else, and sometimes that's services for residents and sometimes it's salaries for our employees. Those are choices that the library board makes solely.
Well, if you would give the amount needed to raise those employees to $16 an hour from $15.13, I think it would be well worth it, and they could tell you how much they need in order to do that. Maybe you could inquire of that, Roger, and maybe that could be arranged, because I don't think it's that much money in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Any other member of the public wish to comment on consent agenda items?
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Laura, can you please read the correspondence into the record?
Sure, we have number 1 is the Oradell monthly police report for April of 2024. And number 2 is a petition was submitted from residents on 2nd Street requesting speed humps.
Okay, thank you. Next item on our agenda is our public hearing for the town's application for grant funds to the Bergen County Open Space Recreation Floodplain Protection Farmland and Historic Preservation Trust Fund, a project at the Douglas Parcells Athletic Complex, commonly known as DPAC, to construct a pedestrian walkway around the entirety of the field. Mr. Atkinson.
Sure. Let me just hand out so you have the smaller version.
That's okay.
It's Mike's mic.
It works. Thanks.
We're good?
Yeah, just make sure the audience gets them.
It'll be up on the
I have
screen.
to. It's up on the screen.
It'll be on the screen.
Yeah, I feel like I don't need a drawing.
Keep for your files.
Okay, thank you.
I got one. The whole way.
Stuff will be up on the All right. Thank you, Mayor. Sorry about that. I should have got that ahead of time, but anyway. All right. So we're here tonight. We have to give a quick presentation on the Bergen County Open Space Grant that we're submitting for, which is over at the DPAC facility. So up on the TV monitor here, it's just a general overview map showing the facility. So the area in question is within the red box, which is where the turf field is as it sits today. Just for orientation purposes, to the top of the screen is to the north, to the south, north is up that direction. So to the left of us, or to the west, you have the Oradell Swim Club. To the right is the parking lot, as well as your playground. Let me just get into the concept plan just to show you what we're going to be doing. So just to kind of give you a feel of the land as well, so there's a number of environmental constraints that we have to keep in mind as far as the potential improvements here at the park. Just to the west of us, we have the Banky Brook, which is regulated by the state of New Jersey or the DEP. There could be flood hazard area permits, wetland permits, and the like as a result of what we're looking to do here. So jumping right into the concept plan. So there's been a need for a walking path or continuous walking path at the facility as it sits today. You currently have an existing pathway from the parking lot that goes to the north up to Commander Black Roadway. And then there's also a pathway from the parking lot that goes to the west that ties into the parking lot over at the swim club. Currently, as it sits today, you do have some gravel pathways along the west and the north side of the complex. However, as far as accessibility, it is better to have a more firm surface and stable surface for people walking around the complex, as well as to allow them to walk during the games as well. So what's proposed here is a pathway along the west side of the complex. The proposed surface, because of the environmental constraints, will need to be some sort of a pervious material, which will allow the water to flow through it. In this particular scenario, we haven't picked the final product, but I would envision either concrete or an asphalt material in lieu of the pavers in the event that the Banky Brook does overtop within that area. Don't want to have pavers or different things washing out. And then that pathway on the west side would continue up along the north side, same material, following along the edge of the field. Now, unfortunately, it is going to be tight quarters just giving the site constraints over there. As it relates on the north side, there is a ditch that's tied into the waterway, which will be regulated and prevents us from pushing any further in that location, as well as going with a little bit wider of a walkway. So those are the main parts of it. As far as the overall cost, the construction dollars for the project are roughly $150,000 is the total construction cost. There are permitting fees that we factored into the overall cost, as well as your soft costs associated with the project. So the total project cost comes in at $194,814.00. With the Bergen County Open Space Grant, it is a 50% match. So our request is for 50% of the 194. So that's the general overview of the project. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I got a question. So in the rendering on the north east corner, it doesn't show that the new walkway and the existing walkway are connected. Is there any reason for that?
It is connected. What you're seeing is actually what's denoted as a ditch.
Okay.
Just below that. If you look here on the screen, I don't know if you can see my hand, probably not. You can see that little box. So it does connect over in there.
Okay. All right.
I think what you're looking at is just up here, up at the top.
Okay.
Where you see like a diagonal line, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, maybe that was it.
Yeah.
Does this include any plans to do, if there are any, repairs to the existing walkway area?
It did not incorporate any of that. I know we paved the pathway, the one that runs north-south. That was paved, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
Typically, the trust fund won't fund capital maintenance repairs. They'll fund capital improvements.
Okay.
So the scope was really limited around constructing a walkway in a place which, one, does not exist, but the desired paths you'll see out there clearly show that many people have a need to get to that side of the field to watch games and so forth.
Yeah, so here's some, there's some site photos that we incorporated in the grant application that I can show you here. So obviously here's your sign to the facility, but here's your pathway as it sits today. It's dirt and grass. This is along the northerly side is the top right picture. bottom left is the same. These are all on the northern side. So you can see right now it's grass and dirt pathways that are there today. So the focus on this would be to clean it up and make it a more accessible pathway. This is just going around the backstop in that northwest corner.
Dave, how much from that current fence line would the proposed walkway begin?
Sure. So we would put it right up against the fence. Depending on the location, it's anywhere from 5 feet to 6 feet. We try to push it as much as we can to the 6 foot. I think on the north side, we're really constrained, so it's going to be about 5 foot on that north side.
Width.
However, on the west side, we have a little bit more room of 6 feet.
And on the north side, why we're constrained to 5 feet is because it falls off, right?
It drops down into a ditch, yeah. And then just keeping in mind, obviously, this project is contingent upon obtaining the necessary DEP permits. So we'll have to work through that process with the state to see what they will allow us to do or not.
Are permits required?
Permits are required. For the walkway. Because you're within the flood hazard area, and then there are some wetlands buffers. I think more so the wetlands are to the north, and then the flood hazard area is on the west side.
And for that northern area where it drops off, are we putting anything there to prevent people to even more drop off more? Because if you're building a walkway,
right.
How are you building that up then?
The walkway is going to be put at grade, so everything that we're doing has to be at grade. The only other option would be to look and put in boardwalks, but the problem with the boardwalks and the way everything's situated there, we felt that keeping it at grade was the best option in that scenario.
Okay.
That 5 foot gives us a little bit of a cushion from falling off and concerns of going into the ditch.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there any areas that might be problematic to some drainage concerns?
Well, everything sheets off of this. So to the north, you have the ditch. So most of the stuff is draining up towards that direction. Otherwise, a lot of your drainage is kind of going off over towards the parking lot area. There is a number of inlets within the lawn area. I know on the easterly side.
Same question for the lights. I know that we have lights on the field, but is there any, areas where there might be some lighting issues that are off of that walkway?
Well, I wouldn't envision, usually the walking paths will be used when the field lights are on. It's not going to be something that'll be used, in the off hours. So there should be sufficient lighting from the fields there today. Adding lights to this location would make it even tighter as far as your walking path. I know just trying to work through some of the items that are there, like your scoreboards, or there's scoreboards on the west and on the north, and then there's also the light poles for the field there too. So,
how about if they put lights on the existing towers? Because those are right at the fence line. And I don't know if it's possible, because there is obviously electric there, if we could put small lights on the back side of those poles.
It's a possibility. I know Musco, when you guys had the field done, which was many years ago, you're probably going on 17 plus years now over there. I know a lot of things have changed. They've actually installed lights on the Musco lights now too, to kind of shine down a little bit. So it might be an option of something that could be done.
Just an idea.
Do you know any more about what permeable substance you might use? Like, would it be wood chips, or are you talking gravel, or?
I'm envisioning because of the Banky Brook there, I'm envisioning either concrete or an asphalt. What it is it's a permeable material. It's not your traditional concrete that you see out here, your traditional asphalt. They have certain mixes that allow the water to actually bleed through it.
Oh, really? Okay.
It doesn't look quite the same. It's more, I would call it more bony.
Yeah.
Because they take all the, like for the concrete, they take all the fines out of it. So it's really just your aggregate that you see.
But it's actually permeable?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Laura, is this public hearing require comment specifically on the resolution?
Yeah, I
and
think after
application?
the questions are finished on the dais, then we would just open it up to the public to ask questions. And then once they conclude, we would close public comment, and then you would take a motion and a second to endorse the application. I just had a quick question. If this goes through, do you happen to know offhand what with the existing walkway, what the distance would be? If this is put in.
Square yards or linear yards?
Like if is it?
I know if it's like a quarter of a mile.
Yeah, exactly. Because if we're thinking of future kind of events or
Yeah, no.
something.
I mean, just quickly add some numbers.
Test question.
What was that?
It's an SAT test
I
question.
think I think your point is well taken, that signage
Yeah.
should be included that
Yeah, just like-
prescribes the distance so people who may use it for walking know how
Yeah,
far
yeah,
it's
Probably about, I would say probably like 1,500 feet is one lap around,
Okay.
roughly.
Interesting. Okay.
That's just the ballpark I'm going, 360.
Any further questions from the council? Now I'll entertain a motion to open it to the public on this application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Folatunis, how did this project get proposed? Who originated the project?
I suggested it.
Okay. I'm looking at $194,000, and it seems that we're willing to spend that much, and I just asked for really like pennies for the library employees. That's all. That's my comment.
Eileen Jones, Oradell resident. I just had a question, and maybe it was answered and I missed it. The walkway near where the ditch goes down, how close would it be to the ditch?
I mean, it's really
Like
not-
if it's 5 feet, is it like 2 feet from the ditch or?
No, I mean, there's a distance from it. We don't have all the topo that's here, but, I mean, the walkway, you're probably a good, like at the closest point here, you're probably 8 feet away, but then as you get closer to the back stop area, it gets pretty tight. So you're within probably 2-3 feet of that.
Because I'm just thinking,
And that's the top of the bank.
I was just thinking that if it's 8 feet, fine. But if it's 2 to 3 feet at that point, maybe some kind of a fence should be put up or something, because you're putting a walkway down saying walk here, and when kids are running around and then everything, if somebody falls in, there's a lawsuit. So thank you.
No, thank you.
Maybe a fence would
That's a
help.
great point. It needs to be done safely.
A bigger concern would be people who put their chairs to watch on the walkway and block it.
Well, I think we should have to come up with signage about where there may be room for that and where there may not be room for that.
Yeah, because somebody comes through with a wheelchair and there's chairs.
Right.
Just like you said, we got to just be mindful of signage.
Yeah, I mean, the challenge is here, and why I suggested the project is, great project for the town to have undertaken the construction of the fields, which is probably 15, 20 years ago at this point. But we have completed the project with regards to the path. We have a whole half of the field that nobody can access to safely, or that is ADA accessible to watch people participate in sporting events on the field. So this is really just completing the project in my mind, and making it safe and accessible for people to access, 360 degrees worth of the field.
And Mayor, you'll probably be eligible for some sustainable New Jersey points for creating a walkway, a passive walkway. I'm sure there's some criteria for that.
Thank you.
To the mayor's house. When it's done.
Any other comments or questions from the general public? If not, I'll entertain a motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. So we're voting on Resolution 24-145 separately, Laura?
Yes.
Okay. I'll accept a motion to move Resolution 24-145.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnival?
Yes.
Mr. Staff?
Yes.
Mr. Tashian?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Gullo?
Yes.
Ms. Hara?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda. Oh, we've lost our audience. Oh. Next item on the agenda is the passing of the consent agenda. Any member of the council wish to pull a resolution for further discussion or a separate vote?
Can I just interject one moment? I realize, so resolution 24-152, the discussion in closed session led to the confirmation for me to add the name for the bond counsel firm that's going to be selected and approved tonight. And based on the materials submitted and the recommendation from the Borough Administrator and Chief Financial Officer, the firm of McManaman, Scotland, and Bauman will be typed into that resolution for this evening.
Okay.
Mayor, I just had a question on 24-156. We have everything that you need to execute that document?
Well, I have not seen it yet, but I will make sure before I do put pen to paper that it concludes what the negotiating committee agreed to in its session. I believe the union, I was going to speak on this very briefly in my report, met last week and ratified the agreement from their perspective, and it reflected what our negotiation was last Wednesday.
Excellent.
Mr. Mayor, I have two questions.
Yes.
One is for Resolution 24-148, which is a snow plowing contract. And you probably have the answer to this, but I wondered if the salt that we're using and that we're allowing them to use, there were two kinds, and one went into the water and it raised people's heart who had sensitivities to salt, and it was bad for the environment, and the other did not do that as much. And I know the state of New Jersey came out with some regulations as in terms of what kind of salt to be used. Do you know what salt we're approving as we approve this?
I don't specifically know the exact brand or the mix of the salt. What I do know is that this contract provides the municipality with salt from the county for use on spreading on county roads. And it is a salt that they publicly procure, which they're required to comply with all of the same open public contract laws and public procurement laws that we are.
Okay.
So if there are requirements from the DEP, I would suppose that they're subject to them
That
just
they're
as we
following
are.
it.
Yes.
Okay.
And I can get you the information from our
That would be
superintendent.
great. I'd appreciate that. And my second question was on Resolution 24-154, council assignments and liaisons. And I noticed, at least unless it's been changed, that you had assigned me to be a liaison to the Board of Health, no, not the Board of Health, I'm sorry, to the Municipal Drug Alliance, Stigma Free, and Oradell for All, and OPTV, but I do not have any council assignments. And I noticed that my previous, the person who occupied this seat previously was on the communications and tech and communications and finance. And as I started out as a stockbroker, and I've done nothing but raise money and produce shows for 30 years, I know a lot about finance. So my request would be that you include me on council committees. Laura, you were going to say, I'm
actually,
jumping.
Councilman Carnival caught that today in my typing frenzy on Friday. I realized I forgot to add you back on. The Finance Committee is made up of the Council of the Whole. So that's on the final one that's in the signature folder. I should have passed a new one out for the dais. So that is, you are on that committee.
Okay, and the tech and communications?
That I have to check on because I don't know if
Well,
that.
she should be on it.
Yeah, I
Tracy was on the committee.
Right.
She's filling Trace's
I think that
assignments.
was an
I just want
oversight
to help
as
as
well.
much as I can.
Yes.
Correct.
So I will amend the final one for your signature.
To require 3 council members.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Thank you.
I fixed the second page and forgot to fix the
Gotcha.
first page, so I apologize.
You've been so wonderfully
That's
helpful,
okay.
so thank you.
Thank you, Maggie. Any other questions on resolutions on the consent agenda?
Motion to move them?
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnival?
Yes.
Mr. Staff?
Yes.
Mr. Tashian?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes, as amended.
Mr. Gullo?
Yes.
Ms. Hara?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next committee reports. I will be brief in the spirit of the start of summer. As I spoke to at our swearing in, metrics and transparency was one of the things that I touched on. I've been working with Laura, and I'll be working with the rest of the council in advance of our June meeting to have prepared a 180-day measurement of the accomplishments of this council in the first 6 months of the year. I feel it's very important to track these things and provide metrics that we can be held accountable for and show, our progress and the things that we're accomplishing to the general public. Mr. Hines, I also investigated the situation on Wildwood Road we discussed about today with the trees all over the place. I see no reason why the DPW cannot forthwith remove that debris from the street. There look to be no hazards from public service. All their infrastructure looked to be repaired. There was a downed tree from a resident's property, which is the problem of the resident to take care of under their homeowners. We opened the road and cut the tree at the road. That's our responsibility. But the rest of that street should be cleaned up tomorrow without delay. That happened on Wednesday or Thursday of last week. So we're a little behind the times in that, and I understand the need to make sure that the utility has made it a safe work zone, but it looks like we're there. Next, segueing onto PSC&G, I am working on a meeting with their government affairs representative and Mr. Hines, and will include members of the council as appropriate to basically reestablish a dialogue with Danette Verley, who is our assigned representative for this area. She was very helpful earlier in the year with getting lights addressed on Kinderkamak around some pedestrian accidents where we had outages. I see we're having them again, and we want to talk about the coordination of PS's capital program throughout town. I think most residents have received some kind of a form of communication indicating work is ongoing on certain streets in the borough. I've asked the police department and emergency management to ensure that that notice goes out every day so residents can plan accordingly. But there is a massive amount of work to be completed by them and potential paving happening this year, and we want to make sure that this happens in a very coordinated way because we have responsibility as well for some of the streets being paved. I've asked the administrator to arrange for me with him and the various professionals sort of a briefing and an update on our capital projects and outstanding grants. The grants have been plaguing us for a little while. We need to get reset on those, and we need to be able to track and manage metrics on moving the goalposts, if you would, on completing a lot of these capital projects. Some of them are very time sensitive due to the grant nature of the funding and or our ability to adequately and timely communicate with the public on the inconvenience that may be thrust upon them as a result of this work. Lastly, I'll just say that I want to thank our borough workforce, both the white and blue collar unions, the UPSCU. The contract had expired on December 31st of 2022 and has been open for almost a year and a half. I'm very happy to report, as Councilman Carnival asked, Resolution 24-156 authorized me to execute the memorandum of agreement, which is the first step towards the rewrite of the contract to include all of the current and newly negotiated terms, which while I don't think, honestly, we did not give the store away, but it is a fair contract. And it is a fair step in the right direction to continuing to address the level of compensation that our employees deserve, are entitled to, and allow the borough to remain competitive and a good workplace. These things are very important for us to be successful as a borough. While the vote was not unanimous to ratify the contract, this is to be inspected sometimes. I'm fully confident that, over the course of this contract and into the next one, we'll continue to work on what's important for our employees while keeping an eye on the bottom line of the borough and making sure that we are a desired, competitive place to work and offer our staff fair wage and compensation. So thank you very much to the council for approving that tonight. That's all I have to report. Administration and Ordinance, Council President Carnaval.
Thank you, Mayor. The Administration Committee, no updates to report this evening. However, Ed, I know we need to put time on the calendar to conduct the salary reviews for the non-union employees, so perhaps we can look at some potential dates after tonight's meeting. There are no updates to report with regard to the Ordinance Committee this evening, and once again, I will look to find time on everyone's calendar to follow up on the list of outstanding projects we discussed at our May 14th meeting. The Planning Board did not meet in May as there were no applications to be heard. The next scheduled meeting of the board is Monday, June 3rd at 7:30 p.m. The meeting is taking place on Monday because Tuesday the 4th is the primary election day. The Zoning Board met on May 20th, where there was one application being heard for the Special Needs Housing Project on Genther Avenue. The application has been carried over to the June meeting, which is scheduled for Monday, June 17th at 7:30 p.m. And lastly, the Historical Committee will be meeting on Monday, June 3rd at 7:30 p.m. And I will provide a report on that meeting at our June 25th Mayor and Council meeting. And that's my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Council President. Public Safety, Emergency Management, Board of Health, Councilman, staff.
Thank you, Mayor. First and foremost, I would like to welcome Councilwoman Harrer to the council, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Public Safety Committee is meeting on Friday to discuss, among other items, the Class 3 officer for Riverdale High School. The borough is waiting direction from the Riverdale School Board meeting. Last week's storm brought damage on Iroquois, Lenox, and Wildwood roads, as the mayor mentioned, disrupting power. However, our dedicated public safety team swiftly responded to the situation, and the same day, a motor vehicle accident on Oradell and Veldren occurred, causing a motorist to lose control of the vehicle and unfortunately land on the railroad tracks. Thankfully, the conductor of the approaching train was able to stop in time, averting a potential catastrophe. I will attend tomorrow's Oradell Lead Law Enforcement Against Drugs graduation ceremony on behalf of the Mayor and Council, and like to extend an early congratulations to our Oradell Public 5th grade class. I would also like to thank the Mayor and Council for reappointing me as liaison to the Board of Health. I attended the May 13th meeting. Narcan access, mental health awareness are two topics that show no political party affiliation. I am also happy to pick up these initiatives, which we began last year, and look forward to building on that success for the remainder of the year. Other topics discussed was the wellness program, senior health checks, blood drives, Narcan training, and moving our pet licenses back to 1-year renewal due to the misalignment of the rabies vaccine. And this concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman, staff. Library, Environmental, Board of Education, and Economic Development, Councilman Tashin.
Thank you. Once again, I'd also like to welcome Maggie to the dais. Congratulations. Also thank Tracy for her service. It's a nice change, Maggie, to see you here. I know you've always been very active in town, so welcome.
Thank you.
I only have one announcement about the library. The library will be closed this Friday for the AC replacement and roof repairs. Additionally, it will reopen for the weekend and then be closed all the following week until Saturday. It's a multi-day project, and so we've just decided for safety reasons why, if they're going to be working on the roof, that it's best that they be closed so that no patrons and or employees are put at any risk while the work is happening on the roof. That's my only... Oh, you have a
Quick
question?
question, Roger.
Yeah.
There's a crane, I assume?
Yes.
I remember coming in. And
Yep.
were they putting the crane and the times for disruption for school?
Church Street.
And Church Street.
Church Street, and
Kinderkamak.
everybody's in the loop for what has to happen. And so the crane will remove the items, and then we'll come back later in the week to replace the items.
Time of day, do we know?
I want to say it starts at 2 o'clock on Friday. They've coordinated all, police, DPW, et cetera. Okay, that's it.
Perfect,
And that's
thank you.
my only report. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Finance and DPW, Councilman Kern.
And thank you, Mayor. First off, I just want to say welcome, Maggie.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Finance. Last week I spoke with our CFO. She's preparing to get our capital budget on the agenda for June. We already passed the operational. So there are just a few last minute items to be working on. and then we'll have that on for June, hopefully. Also, another item with finance, our collection rate is currently around 98%. And just a reminder, if you'd like to pay your tax bill online, you can do so at oradell.org. Moving on to DPW, as always, I'll defer to our engineer first. If you have anything else.
Sure, just some quick updates. I know between your administrator and myself, we've been continuing to work through the New Jersey Transit stuff related to the sewer. We're almost there as far as New Jersey Transit. Every time we blink, we think we're there, and they throw a new twist into the whole mix. So we worked through that this last month, and we hope to have everything resolved on that within the next week or so. Cross our fingers, hopefully, and then we can get things moving along with our contractor on getting that sewer replaced over there on Marginal Road, as well as doing the repairs. I know we have a couple open items related to the work over on Prospect. We had met with the contractor. Given the amount of traffic in the area with the school and stuff, they're looking to wait to do a couple of the final repairs related to the paver work and stuff there. And then we're going to work with them as far as Mr. Councilman Gallo's concerns related to the concrete and see what we can get them to do on that, because their opinion was that it's related to salt damage. But we'll see what we can do to force their hand to do some repairs to there. So we'll work through that as well. Those are the main items that I have.
Do we still have a bond on that work?
We haven't enclosed it out yet, so we do.
Okay. Dave, when does the Lotus Woods work get started?
So the Lotus Woods we got the sign off from the state as it relates to the preliminary assessment report. They found that to be satisfactory. So the next step is really to get the survey completed and do the work over there to prepare the permitting plan. So ideally we need to submit something to the DEP by September.
Great, thank you.
And then from there, we have probably about a 6-month window of the DEP reviewing everything. So realistically, we're looking at 2025 construction time frame for that.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
All right, so the DPW committee met last Monday. There were a couple of issues with the air conditioning for Borough Hall, which included an issue with the HVAC blowers, but these items were replaced. It's much cooler in here now, so I think it's all fixed and done. I had on my one of my topics for the library roof, but thank you, Roger, for filling us in on that already. The next item was the DPW supervisor advised the committee that the playground drinking fountains are in the process of continuing to be replaced. The OK Kids water fountain was on order already, so our superintendent took care of that and is shipped, and the DPAC fountain is slated to be replaced as well. The DPW supervisor has made us aware that there's around $25,000 in the budget for fall tree planting. We missed the window for the spring, but we can do this in the fall. He said we can plant anywhere from 40 to 55 trees. And there is a list that the department has for a first come, first served basis on any residents who would like to have the borough plant a tree on their property. It is a long list, so if any resident is interested, definitely give them a call.
John, a quick question. Yeah. The list to get a tree planted or a list to choose a type of tree from?
No, it's to get a tree.
To get a tree planted.
Yeah, thank you.
Within the boroughs right away.
Yes. Moving on, we discussed some maintenance plans for the tennis courts, which the DPW can help facilitate midsummer. I'm sure maybe Ted has some on that later on. But I'd like to, just really quickly give a reminder to any residents in regards to tennis court etiquette. I'd ask that the residents please don't bring or leave any personal furniture. Items such as chairs and tables on the court, we really do appreciate that. Thank you. And, the DPW would at some point have to remove those items because they don't belong on public property. Next item, I'd like to thank the DPW for assisting and maintaining the memorials at the Memorial Day ceremony. Everything looked great. Everything was neat. Planting, mulch, the statues in general. So again, big shout out to DPW for that work that they put in on Monday. And lastly, just a quick shout out to our superintendent, Philip Manfredonia, as he just received his diploma at the 19th Annual Public Works Continuing Education Conference, which happened this month in Atlantic City, sponsored by Rutgers. Again, giving a big shout out, and certainly we'd like to see that our DPW staff is not only excelling in what they do, but also continuing on a path to gain knowledge and skill set along the way. So thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you, John.
Jonathan, I'd just like to say that my experience with the DPW is amazing. When I call and have questions about recycling, I'm sort of phobic about that, and Christy's always wonderful, and she gets back to me, so just please congratulate them for us.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Technology and Communications, Councilman Gullo, and Recreation, sorry.
Thanks, Mayor, and welcome, Maggie, to the other end of the dais. So last week, the IT Communications Committee met. We actually met with Dan Brown, who's part of DTM Consulting, which is the borough's IT, for the lack of a better word, servicer for all things hardware as well as obviously software. I wanted Dan to come in to give an overview for the committee. It was really his first time. He had previously met with Ed and myself, and he just gave really more of a perspective on what they're doing for the borough. The biggest issue that came up is for us to probably address sooner rather than later, because it is on Bauer time, is the borough server is outdated and will ultimately need to be replaced. There was some discussion about whether we replace it with a hardware server that would be housed here, but it would have to have proper cooling and other things with it. Obviously, there's an appropriate backup. But then obviously there was discussion about the cloud, which is a much more costly proposition, if you will. So one of the takeaways is Dan is going to provide to the committee really more of an analysis of cost benefit, server, hard server versus cloud. So that's one takeaway, but it was definitely worth our time. We also are looking at really what the borough pays departmentally for bills like Verizon and other things. It's very disparate, and it seems like each department has its own bill. So there has been some discussion to look kind of at an analysis as to, the savings, potential savings that we might get if we could kind of combine, whether it's the firehouse, obviously the police is separate, but DPW. So that was another thing that we had introduced at the end of the meeting. In terms of senior advisory, unfortunately, we had to cancel the trip to go see the Texas Tenors on May 15th due to lack of participation or interest. But we are going to research something for the fall. Important, next Thursday, June 6th, at the Senior Center, Oradell resident James Del Greco, who's a cybersecurity expert, is going to give a class for free about how to protect yourself for scams, phishing, fraud, protecting your own personal social media and the like, practical tips and things of that nature. So it's free to all residents. It's at the Senior Center. It's at 12 noon. He is going to do the presentation first, and then it's going to follow with pizza. In terms of rec, as John alluded, we've spent some time at the courts trying to tighten up some controls around that. We are hoping to reinstate a fob system July 1st. There will be ample communication about it, but we feel as though just for the general maintenance and just put a little bit more structure around the courts, that the fob system, which has already been installed and which, as I mentioned, was previously installed years ago, there also with that is going to be a reservation system online. Again, just keeping some parity to the schedule. We're finding, and I'm hearing anecdotally from some residents, that people at a time will, instead of playing pickleball for an hour, will basically take both courts for 2. So just trying to make it a little bit more fair for all. For special events, as John alluded yesterday, we had a really nice observance for Memorial Day. We had some nice participation from the Special Events Committee. Eric Schuler gave a nice reflection. We had the Hawkapella. We had Ted Erdos, who received his robotic award. He did taps. We had great representation from each of the monuments, from the Legion, Father Scalo, and lastly, the Oradell Emerson Rotary Club provided refreshments. Looking ahead, the borough is planning to host fireworks on July 3rd. So we're all set with that. We actually have, I think, 12 food trucks. We're going to start at 6:30. There's going to be a DJ as well as some other vendors. Fireworks are supposed to set off at 9 p.m. I'm only going to say this once. There is a rain date for July 5th. And that concludes my report.
Ted, may I just ask you a quick question? Sure. I think it's wonderful. The Senior Center Against Scams and Frauds, which are increasing exponentially. I've been offered jobs 3 times this week if I wanted to stay home and make a fortune, and I like to watch movies, sure. Yada, yada, yada. And how much publicity are we doing about that? Because I think we're all being bombarded.
Yeah, so it's a great question. So there's a email list that Tina sends out to senior specific, but that's a good point, Maggie. We'll actually post something off of Facebook on social media just to open it up for all residents.
Great, yeah, because I think it's beyond seniors now.
I agree.
It's nuts.
No, I agree.
And if anybody likes movies and wants to make a fortune, call me. I'm sorry. Jokes.
Humor is always welcome. Thank you, Ted.
Thank you, Ted.
Yep.
Maggie, I hope you prepared your report.
I'm prepared with all of these. No, actually, because this is my first night, and Laura is going to give me the contacts, and I'll be able to get in touch with and come up to speed with these people. So my apologies. I have no report for tonight.
I'm putting together like an onboarding binder for the councilwoman that has copies of the ordinances for these, as well as the contact information, making those connections. So
thank you. You've been terrific. Thank you.
There.
Absolutely understood. Mr. Hines, we have a administrator's report tonight.
Thank you. 2 items. They both concern solids. One is waste and one is liquid. So I want to endorse what Mr. Atkinson has said. He's been a valuable asset in dealing with New Jersey Transit. We are very, very close. But then we find out there are new rules that they didn't make up to impede us, but they're new rules that have been passed by the Federal Railway Administration that require, for instance, escrow payments for flagmen. And you need that money before they give you the permit, which we've paid for. So we expect that project to begin very soon. It will be a big project that will require the cooperation of our local police department also, because it will affect a major road going into New Milford. Second issue, which has been spoken about in the past, has been the solid waste renewal contract. A lot of people were required to bless that project, starting, of course, with the 3 liaison council members at DPW, the borough attorney, the QPA, the borough clerk, before we could issue it. So the notice will be published in 2 newspapers on June 3rd. By statute, because solid waste contracts come under a special section of public contract law, you need 60 days before you can open the bid. So the publication will be on June 3rd. Opening of the bid will be August 6th, and we plan to have a pre-bid conference 30 days beforehand in case there are any questions we hadn't thought about, which allows us to deal with that issue and make an addendum to the contract. So I want to thank all the players whom I have mentioned, without whom I couldn't have said any of this. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hines. Bill, Borough Attorney's report.
Just briefly to follow up on the administrator's report, I know Laura met with the QPA earlier, and then I met with him around 5:30 to just work out the tweaks on the solid waste contract, so that's good to go. Also been working with the auditor on the audit of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, which really kind of has to be done by the end of June. And also with our new insurance broker on addressing the issues with the prescription plan and trying to get those costs reined in. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Before I call for adjournment, I did want to touch on one thing I should have addressed in my report, but it's really not my report. I did want to talk about Memorial Day yesterday and thank everybody who was able to take time out of their day to join us at the various monuments. Oradell has done Memorial Day a couple different ways in the past. We really kind of honor our fallen at memorials now. We used to have a very small parade in the past. I was approached yesterday by a few folks who asked if there was the possibility of resurging some kind of a version of that, and they offered their assistance to help volunteer in that regard. So I'm very open to having a discussion that leads to the betterment of the borough with people willing to volunteer and participate. But the most important thing I want to say, I think it's kind of ironic our primary is very close to Memorial Day, right? Part of my remarks yesterday was that freedom really isn't free, and that these selfless men and women gave everything they had, their lives, to fight for our principles and our ideals. So I would ask everybody, despite the fact that it's not a very exciting thing on primary day to go out and vote, which is next Tuesday, exercise your right these people died to protect. Regardless of what party you are, who you want to choose, what type of office you want to vote for, do them the honor of going out and casting your vote. It's your responsibility as a citizen. And that's really what I wanted to close on, and thank everybody, including Major Schuler and the many people, Tina, that were involved in pulling those ceremonies together yesterday. It's a very important part of what we do as citizens, and I'm very appreciative for everybody's efforts. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Before we do that, can I jump in? Mayor, wonderful speech, thank you. I used to, in the past, do an event on Memorial Day, and that was when they had the parade, and in the gazebo, I would bring professional musicians in to play various things. I had a professional saxophonist who put a medley of war tunes, going all the way back to the Revolutionary War and the Civil War, and I brought poets and that sort of thing. In the future, if you're interested, that's sort of my ballpark. I'm a producer director, and if there's some way I can help enhance Memorial Day, I'd certainly be willing to do that.
Abby, you could find yourself very busy here. Thank you for offering.
Okay.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a great night, everybody. Thank you.